All right, hello everyone. I'm Monica from Goals English, bringing you another English lesson based on US news and current events. My channel's focus is on bringing you English content that is challenging but simple to understand to help you increase your fluency and pronunciation in English. If you've been watching US news, you'll see that a hot topic right now is all of the executive orders that our new president, President Biden, is signing. We're going to talk about what an executive order is and use one or two of the recent executive orders as examples to try to help you get a better understanding. Uh, Hi, everyone joining on my Instagram. I go simultaneously live on YouTube, so feel free to join me there. And I will stay after on Instagram to answer questions. All right. So first, let's do a quick review of the three branches of the federal government in America. I talked about this a little bit in my last video, but if you missed that, here we go. So first, we have the legislative branch. So notice those flap T's, legislative, instead of a T, legislative branch. So the legislative branch makes the laws. So this is Congress, which is made of the Senate and the House of Representatives. So we have 100 senators and 435 voting representatives. That makes up Congress, which is the legislative branch, which makes laws. Okay, so next up we have the judicial branch. The judicial branch, that's a mouthful, judicial branch interprets the laws or evaluates the laws. So in the Supreme Court, there are 9 judges called justices, and this is the highest court in the US, the Supreme Court. The judicial branch also includes other federal courts. Oh, and I skipped a little thing. So let's make sure we understand the fact that in the US, we kind of have a strange way of things operating in which we have federal government, which is on the national level, right? The whole country. And then we have state governments. So this is all just concerning the federal government, the national government. Okay, so our last one, which is the one we'll be focusing on today, is the executive branch. The executive branch enforces or carries out the laws. So this branch of government includes the president, vice president, federal agencies such as the Department of Homeland Security, and the president's cabinet. So all those secretary positions that the president chooses, like Secretary of State, Secretary of Education, etc., those are all in the president's cabinet. So right now they're confirming some of those cabinet members, I believe. There is a really great infographic with all of this. So like a little picture that shows these branches if you'd like on usa.gov, and I'll leave a link in the description if you want to see that kind of visual display of these. So executive branch, executive order, right? This is what we're talking about today, these executive orders. Let me put that there and hope it stays. So right away we see an executive order is an order from the executive branch, which the president is the head of that, right? So they are orders signed by the president. So the short answer for what is an executive order is that it's basically a law made by the president or an order made by the president without needing to go through the legislative branch. It doesn't need to be voted in by Congress. But it's more complicated than that. The president can't just make any laws. There are some limits, some limitations. So if you're a little confused, that's okay. A lot of us are. On the Library of Congress website, there is a page that is called The Beginner's Guide to Executive Orders, which I will also link for you after this recording. You can check the description in my YouTube. But listen to this interesting description of executive orders from the introduction in that beginner's guide. So this is an exact quote. It is the rather idiosyncratic nature of the process which can cause so many problems for researchers seeking information about executive orders. So that's one of our first vocabulary words here today, idiosyncratic. And idiosyncratic is one of my favorite words. It can describe many different things. So idiosyncratic is the adjective. I'm trying to make sure. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure that YouTube and Instagram can see the vocabulary words. So let me make sure I'm doing that. So idiosyncratic is the adjective form of the noun idiosyncrasy. So idiosyncratic, flap T again, cratic, and idiosyncrasy, plural, drop the Y, idiosyncrasies is the noun. Okay? Um, so an idiosyncrasy, the noun, is defined by learnersdictionary.com as an unusual part or feature of something. Or the way I more commonly use it, another definition, is an unusual way in which a particular person behaves or thinks. So we can use the word idiosyncratic, for example, to describe the way people speak. One famous example is the actor Christopher Walken. He talks in a way that is idiosyncratic, right? The way he speaks is completely unique to him. And when someone imitates him, it's obvious right away who they're pretending to be. So on this channel and to my students in my one-on-one lessons, I often suggest mimicking people with the accent you want to learn. So if you want to learn an American accent, find a famous American actor or newscaster, someone that you would imitate to try to learn the language or the accent. But I would say, unless it's just for fun, do not pick someone with an idiosyncratic way of speaking to imitate them, or you might end up sounding a bit strange. You don't want to walk around sounding like Christopher Walken all the time. So, how does this word idiosyncratic apply to executive orders? Well, let's read that description from the Library of Congress again. It is the rather, so very, idiosyncratic nature of this process which can cause so many problems for researchers looking for information about executive orders. So if executive orders have an idiosyncratic nature, it means that they are unusual, they're strange. The Library of Congress website then goes on to define executive orders as orders that are directed to and govern actions by government officials and agencies. So still a little unclear. I found another source, the National Archives, which is another government website I can also link below. This definition I think is a little clearer. Executive orders are official documents numbered consecutively through which the President of the United States manages the operations of the federal government. So another little vocabulary word for you, consecutively. Numbered consecutively, that means they go in number order, like 345, 346. So with this definition, we see that executive orders are official documents that manage the federal government. Now, here's something that's important to know about executive orders. Because they are controlled by one person, right, the President of the United States, they can be signed and acted on much quicker than laws that go through Congress, right, laws that go through the legislative branch. They can also be undone or reversed much quicker than a law that was passed through Congress for the same reason. So that's what we're seeing now in the news, right? Biden is undoing a lot of the executive orders that Trump had done. He's pausing some of them to look more carefully at what they do and decide if he wants to do that or not. And so, yeah, he's undoing a lot of the executive orders that Trump signed in, and Trump did that with a lot of Obama's executive orders when he first became president as well. So that's why we see a lot of this happening when a new president takes over. They're kind of putting through the executive orders they want to do, undoing some of the executive orders that they didn't agree with from the previous president, the previous administration. So all of this is public. We can all go and read these executive orders. If you want to see all of the executive orders by the current president and past presidents, you can see their full original text on the federalregister.gov. And again, I will link that below. So let's get into one example of an executive order that was recently signed. Okay, so this is Executive Order 14,009. So that shows you how many executive orders there have been so far, not with Biden, but with all of the presidents. So Executive Order 14,009 is called the Strengthening Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. And it is 3 pages long. It has 5 sections, 3 of which have subsections. So for example, section 3 will have an A, B, C, etc. And those might also have subsections. So it might be A1, A2, A3, etc. So you can see why it might be difficult to get a full and nuanced meaning or nuanced understanding. So I think that was another word. Did I write it down? Oh, no, I didn't. But nuanced. Okay, lost my spot here. So nuanced means more complex, detailed, right? So we have to have a nuanced understanding of what's happening. We can't just take little pieces of information and assume that's all of it. So for this reason, because these things are so big and complex sometimes, news sources often simplify these orders and focus on some of the main parts of them to fit nicely in a headline or article or maybe a news segment on TV. So we're going to look at some specific examples now. The CNN headline for this executive order says this: Biden signs executive order to reopen Affordable Care Act enrollment. So I do have that on my board. So the Affordable Care Act, often called ACA, Affordable Care Act, is the official name for what many people call Obamacare, which was passed by Congress. So it is not an executive order. It was a law passed by Congress back in 2010. The ACA changed a lot of laws for healthcare in America. So I could do a whole other video on the ACA by itself. A lot of things changed when that happened, so I won't get too deep into that. Just know again that the original law was passed by Congress. However, pieces of it have changed, or aspects of it have been changed because of later congressional votes and executive orders that might have been passed after the law was passed. So back to the CNN headline that says Biden reopened ACA enrollment. This headline only highlights Section 2 of this particular executive order, which talks about the enrollment period. So I have that here, enrollment, right? The enrollment period is the time when you can sign up for healthcare through the Affordable Care Act. So many of you probably know healthcare is very complicated in the US. Some people have healthcare through their employees, right, through their jobs, but a lot of people don't, especially independent contractors, people with their own businesses. So signing up for the Affordable Care Act, ACA, is a way that many people can get insurance that wouldn't have gotten insurance before, or would have been very difficult, very expensive. So before Trump, people had 3 months to sign up for healthcare with the ACA on the healthcare.gov website. But Trump changed it to just half of that. So like 6 weeks or 45 days, something around there. So open enrollment for 2021 actually ended on December 15th of 2020. So it's a very small window of time to try to get a whole country of people to sign up for healthcare that is sometimes confusing, complex. The website is sometimes confusing. So, according to the CNN article, ACA enrollment on healthcare.gov, because of Biden's executive order, will now reopen from February 15th to May 15th for the 36 states that use it. So remember, we have 50 states, only 36 of those use that healthcare.gov website. I believe the states that don't use the website will have to make their own decisions on if they're going to reopen or when, but the article didn't go much further into that, so I'm sorry I don't have more information on that. So let's go to another headline about this same executive order. This headline is from Forbes. Biden's healthcare agenda in 2021, shoring up the Affordable Care Act. So this headline kind of takes a broader or wider look at this executive order. I think shoring up is one of our last ones on this list. So shoring up. It means to support or keep from falling. So during Trump's time, there were many moves to weaken the ACA. So by contrast, so opposite of that, Biden is shoring it up or strengthening it once again. So Trump was trying to weaken it, Biden's trying to strengthen it. That's basically what this headline is saying, right? Shoring up the Affordable Care Act. So again, as a recap, Biden, as with all of the presidents before him, can make specific laws for parts of the federal government. But the process and rules around it, as we talked about earlier, are a bit idiosyncratic, right? Idiosyncratic. Or a bit unusual when compared to how laws are usually made in Congress. So it's important when looking into executive orders, right? When you hear something on the news or whatever it is, you see a post on Facebook, Instagram, to look at specifically what they apply to. So to use another example of a recent, I shouldn't put that away yet. Another recent executive order, we have something that people are calling Biden's mask mandate. We have that, our last word here, mandate, right? So Biden's mask mandate, meaning the requirement to wear a mask, only applies in certain places, right? So his mask mandate from this executive order only applies to federal employees, federal contractors, so people that work contracted jobs with the federal government, buildings, and lands, right? So his mask mandate does not apply to everything in the whole country. It's only those federal things, federal employees and federal buildings and lands. It does, however, urge or encourage other government agencies at all the local levels to follow this, but they don't have to. It's up to them, it's up to the local governments to actually do that on their level. So I'm happy to take any questions now from those watching. Otherwise, I will wrap it up. I hope this helped you get a clear understanding of all the news coming out of the US about executive orders. We'll probably be seeing more soon as Biden signs more executive orders. I am by no means an expert on government or the way our government works, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to do my best to find the answers for you. Again, I'm going to link to all of the sources I talked about in the comments once I finish this live video. That's all for this lesson. Please be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, or share with a friend that you think would appreciate this lesson. And if you have any other topics you would like me to cover, I really enjoy doing these live current event lessons. I think they're kind of more interesting and fun way to teach vocabulary. Yeah, if there are no other questions, I'm going to finish up on my YouTube here, and I will go over to Instagram and see if we have any questions there from anyone. All right, thanks for watching, and see you next time.